what's up, guys? This is Nick for the New England Weatherlife.ning.com with the Thursday night weather update. Here, I tried to get one out this afternoon. I didn't really get to it, but I'm doing it now. Alright, current radar picture showing we've had the ocean effect bands of snow that have been rotating into New England, and it hasn't been just along the coastline. Look at this, it's penetrating all the way into much of Connecticut, and it's also penetrating into a lot of western Mass. Now, the thing about this is it's wet snow and it's not falling that heavily, so for most spots, the accumulations won't be that significant. Go over to the Portland, Maine radar, you can see how it's also extending up the Maine coast, and you go over to the Holton, Maine radar, and you can see how it's also extending up through those areas. Now, essentially, I'm going to show you the 500 millibar pattern here, and what's going on is basically, as you can see here, we've got a trough digging into our area, and usually troughs mean colder weather, and it makes sense because we just had a storm pass to our south, right? Well, the thing about this is the sun angle is getting high in the sky, and it's becoming that time of year when, even though you get troughs or cold waves supposedly digging in, they usually don't do that much of a job getting you a whole lot colder. So you go through time, you see how the trough is over us, and by the time we get to Friday morning, the trough is basically negatively tilted, but there's enough general buildup of this trough. It started out strong enough that you are keeping most of the air, relatively chilly air, over us, and so that's essentially what we're talking about. What you do notice, though, look at this hump of warmth that's out over the central U.S. I can show you, and that's not going to be for us, at least not yet. But look at that. That's indicative that it's very warm in those areas. Places like Texas, streaming all the way up into Alberta, Canada, and I can back this up by showing you the current temperatures over Texas, and look at that, 70 to 80 degrees in a lot of spots. Look at that, 80 degrees in around Laredo, Texas, 80 degrees up near El Paso. Look at that 70-degree line, tinkering all the way to about Oklahoma. So that's essentially what we're talking about, and what we're going to be watching over the next couple of days is the potential for that to become affecting us. But at this point, I think we should be relatively safe from the warm air. Essentially, you go through time, and you can see by the time we get to Saturday, trough is getting really just kind of messed up here. You've got warmer air up in the Midwest. It's actually coming south towards New England, so it's probably going to be chillier in the southern mid-Atlantic than in New England. The reason for that, the trough is getting all weird, so you've actually got warmer air coming all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, southern plains, and it just basically streams through Michigan and into parts of northern New England for Saturday. And you go to Sunday, and you can see what's happening is you've got obviously vorticity that's coming through the upper Midwest. You've got warmer air that's continually coming into New England, probably going to be tinkering around 45-50 degrees on Sunday for a lot of spots in southern New England. But back to that disturbance out in the upper Midwest, I want to show you the precipitation for that, because of course we're going to be watching the precipitation also coming in, and that would be, I'm not sure how far out that is. Let's go to, and so you get to, there you go, you get to Sunday, and you see how that is coming through the upper Midwest, and you go through time. You can see how we just continue to get warmer for Monday. High's probably going to be around 50 in a lot of spots in southern New England for Monday. And then you go through time, you can see how, you can also see how basically another storm forming down in Texas by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. And I want to show you the 500 millibar vorticity plot again. This would be, let's see, 78 hours out. Oh, no, that's not it. Here we go. And so essentially there it is. You're obviously seeing that coming through Texas. Your other vorticity. This is basically an upper level low across the Midwest. Not really. I think the Midwest disturbance is going to be more of an upper level low, kind of like what we're seeing today with snow showers in a lot of spots, occasionally getting heavy. And I think the one over Texas is probably going to be more concentrated in a lot of spots. And by the time we get to Monday, basically you've got a big upper level low. The upper level low over Michigan shifted north into Canada. It's really wrapping itself up. And also your vorticity, I don't know if you can see it that well, and I don't blame you because it took me a while to notice this, but also your storm is moving through the south, and deep south, and for Monday, highs again should be tinkering with the 50s, no doubt. And so I can show you back to the precip. You can see how there's the precip coming from the deep south. There's kind of the storm, and by the time we get to Tuesday, basically what happens is that upper level low that was over Michigan shifted into Canada, probably shifts south again on Tuesday, which means precipitation will be coming into New England possibly on Tuesday from the north. And the question is, will it be a snow event? At this point, I don't think it's going to be warm enough to or cold enough to snow. Maybe in the higher elevations, but we're certainly going to be talking about temps probably up there in the 50s for southern New England. Northern New England will, of course, be chillier, but even then, I think that it certainly has a good potential to be a rain event for a lot of folks. I talked about March 10th being a storm potential in this morning's blog post. It's not looking as good as it was this morning, but the models are still showing precipitation missing us to the south. And by the time we get to Thursday, I think, essentially, I've been talking about the spring warming. It's not going to get that warm out here for Thursday. And in fact, most of the models are actually showing a reinforcing shot of cold air by the time we get to late next week. And I look at this Thursday, another trough is dipping in all the way down into New England again. You've got more moisture and advection that's coming through Baja. So I think at this point, you've got a constant flow from the south and west, which brings precip up into the southeast. Then you got vorticity, strong vortmax over Canada. It looks like the kind of scenario, kind of a typical early spring, late winter scenario. So that's basically what we're going to be looking at with the long range. Precip comes from the south and west, probably misses New England to the south. A few snow or rain showers. Any chances for storms in the long range? Well, maybe. It's something we're going to have to keep an eye out for. At this point, it looks like we're certainly entering a pattern that's less favorable for storms. But a few of the models, again, showing a storm around March 10th, maybe a few other dates we'll have to keep an eye on for you. But at this point, I think things should be really just calming down for the most part. Alright, that's it for now. See you guys later. It's Nick for the New England Weather Life.ning.com.